Hello and I. All right, so I am back. And I've actually got a new mic, so hopefully the sound quality is a bit better, guys. You know, I'm trying to upgrade the things, upgrade the levels and dev. Cheese. All right, so today I'm going to be discussing flat Earth versus the global model, yeah? And, you know, I remember coming across the flat Earth theory probably about 10 years ago now. And I remember a lot of people saying, oh my God, like, and there was even like this whole gimmick thing where, you know, they call conspiracy theories, flat earthers and all of these things, right? And I guess when I first came across it, even though I was into my spirituality, etc., and I was opening up and awakening, yeah, I guess when it came to the flat earth, because of the label that came with it, right? I guess it made me not really dive deeper because I guess I didn't want to be latched onto that, you know, flat earthing. But for me, there was always an instinct within me that kind of said, but why is it such a big thing for you to believe that the earth is flat when our lived experience day to day, there's all the evidence suggests that it's a flat earth, right? But yet, do you remember even in school? I'm not too sure about in America or other places, South Africa, etc., because a lot of hello subscribers are from like those sort of countries as well, not just the UK and everywhere. But I know specifically going to school in London, we were taught the globe, and they would put the little humans on top of the globe, like in a circular motion, showing that like you're standing even underneath, right? And then gravity somehow is, even though you're on the bottom of the planet, somehow gravity is pulling you in, if that makes sense, to the center of gravity, which is all BS, okay? And I'll be showing you why this is all BS. And my research, I've done a lot of extensive research. I'm hoping that this video, I won't make it so long, but it's just that I came across so much information that I was just like, I had to insert into the interview, into the video, because it's extremely important. And I feel like they really made it out to make it seem like if you believe in flat earth, then you're stupid or you're just this conspiracy. But I'm telling you now, guys, when I unlock what I've discovered, you men are going to be like, what? And then you need to think about why is it? Because remember, in ancient history, nobody believed the world was a globe. Remember, the globe thing is these men, yeah, new things, new agendas. That's why even when it comes to the what's that is it NGO? What's that organization? Um, is it UNICEF? What's that one with the globe? And it's got the world in it, yeah. Why do you think they're pushing that narrative so much? Think about it, okay? But let's get into it. All right, so now, if the world was flat, yeah, so hypothetically, we're just going to go off hypotheticals now, and you tell me, all right? If the world were flat, the landscape would look like this. Extreme horizontal continuity, so vast uninterrupted plains, no sense of land wrapping away. Distant terrain would feel endlessly reachable. You would get landscapes where deserts, grasslands, ice fields stretch far beyond what we see now. The world feels expansive sideways, not enclosing. So we're thinking about megaplanes rather than globe-like enclosure, okay? Also, central land dominance. And when I'm pointing out these things, hypothetically, this is a hypothetical. I just want you to think about how we experience Earth right now, okay? So, central land dominance. Flat world depictions almost always imply a central region where most land, cities, and life exist. Outer regions becoming harsher, emptier, less settled. Visually, dense civilizations toward the middle, sparse or hostile terrain outward, fewer settlements as you go out. This matches exactly how we experience reality today. All right. Then we've got edge-oriented features. A flat landscape would visually suggest a definable boundary, dramatic edge features such as cliffs, ice walls, endless oceans, or abrupt terrain changes. Not so it doesn't have to be like a literal wall, yeah, but still a clear end of a habitable land. Terrain that feels like a limit rather than a curve. All right, we'll go on. Uniform sky perspective. Landscape wise, the sky would feel like a canopy. Clouds would appear flatter and layered. Stars and celestial objects would feel like they move across rather than around. Visually, less dome illusion, more ceiling illusion. All right. The scale would also feel exaggerated. On a flat world, distances feel psychologically larger. Mountains feel taller relative to the land. Cities feel more isolated. You would often see huge empty spaces between settlements. Strong contrast between inhabited and uninhabited zones. And we see that today, right? We've got the deserts, we've got the Antarctica, etc. We've got terrains that are on the far sides, yeah, that are literally uninhabitable. For fuck's sake, there's not even a country. Antarctica is not even a country. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway. Radial organization. Human-built landscapes would likely form circular cities, ringed regions, spoke-like roads radiating outward, because on flat land, expansion is outward, not around. Planning follows radial logic. Yeah. So you would see this everywhere in architecture and in land division. So, no visual sense of over there or wrapping back. And do we have a sense of over there or wrapping back? Do we? Do you ever feel like you are going back around? And even, I remember somebody talking about the flights, how the flights work, right? And I remember somebody trying to explain it like, oh, it still makes sense and da-da-da-da. But I didn't break it down. So I'll need to look into the flights thing again. Right, but I didn't break it down then. I just thought, because there was so much, like I said, there was so much against the flyovers that I didn't kind of really want to touch on that 10 years ago. I just didn't, yeah. Now, on a flat landscape, far away feels like far away, not around. There's no subconscious sense of return by circumnavigation. Visually, the world feels like a surface, not a shell you're standing on. All right. A flat world would visually feel like an enormous horizontally endless surface with dense civilization near the center, thinning toward harsh outer regions, clear boundary-like edges, exaggerated distances, and a sky that feels like a ceiling rather than a surrounding dome. So I ask you, how does it feel? Because I think a lot of the time, and it's because of school, from school they taught us, well, from parents. Our parents tell us to obey them. School tells you to obey them. The workforce tells you to obey them. Like, everybody has just been teaching us to obey authority, yeah? So you take somebody's authoritative word as God, right? And then what happens is you end up completely bypassing your own logic, your own intuition, your own inner awareness, your own lived life experience. So what do I mean by that? If the government now tells you, oh, the sky is pink, but the only reason it's blue is because it's reflecting the sea, you man will believe it. You man will be like, oh, I just can't see the pink. I just can't see the pink. They said it was pink, so it has to be pink. And that's what. And there's no point arguing with some people, I know, because like I told you, there's two types of consciousness on this earth, yeah? There's meta people and there's non-metas. Non-metas are like AI humanoids. They're literally what I would say AI humanoids. So what does AI do? AI can write you a story. AI can tell you about a dream it's had. AI can create a picture for you, etc. But AI can never generate something from its own inner awareness. AI can only generate things based off of the information that's already been an input to it. So some people are externally focused conscious and other people are internally focused consciousness, okay? And this is literally scientific. I'm not making this shit out of my head. The only problem is when they explain it to you in the science, right? If you look at the wording, it will make it out to seem like the externally conscious person is the person that's you know, is the better choice. Obviously, they're not going to tell you which one's better, but they'll basically make it out like it's the better choice because of the way they word things. That's why you need to be very mindful about wording. But they literally tell you external based consciousness, they react to their environment. Internal based consciousness, it's internal first and then the environment, meaning you don't rely on external cues to tell you who you are. But externally wired people rely only on external cues. That's why you can't really blame certain people because they don't have the same awareness of you. That's why if you've got a soul and you're moving bad mind and evil and then there's something definitely wrong with you and you're tapped. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like you're 100% because you know what you're doing. And I'm not saying that they have no grounds and they don't know what they're doing. No, I'm not saying that at all. But when you're externally focused, you are very much reacting to the environment around you. So for instance, this is why the same white people that were doing the slavery before, yeah, are the same white people that are now mixing. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's whatever the external reality tells them they are allowed to do that they will do. Does it make sense? Anyway, moving on. So extreme. Okay, so we're going to match what I've just said with today's logic here. So extreme horizontal continuity. Today's world feels vastly horizontal in lived experience. Most people move laterally, not around. Travel is experienced as long stretches, not curvature. So subjectively, the world feels like a surface, not a shell. And that fits. Central land dominance. Global power, population, infrastructure, history, and importance are concentrated in central band. So you've got Europe, West Asia, East Asia, North America, Africa. Yeah. Outward regions are framed as remote or developing the edges. This matches dense center, sparse outskirts. Now, edge-oriented emptiness. Antarctica has no countries. Vast oceans, no countries. Polar regions, minimal habitations. End of the world language applied to specific places. Visually and culturally, the world has edges where life thins out. So yet again, that fits the flat world model. Because if it was truly a globe, then surely we will be able to wrap back around. There shouldn't be edges, Uniform sky or ceiling perception. Most people experience the sky as a dome or a ceiling in daily life. Language reflects this. Sky above, heavens, firmament, and metaphors. Firmament metaphors. Art, religion, and architecture reinforce overhead framing. The perceptual landscape is ceiling-like, all right? An exaggerated scale. Distances feel psychologically enormous. Regions feel isolated despite connectivity. Far away doesn't feel like around the corner of a sphere. Human scale experience is flat distance intuition dominates. All right. Now we have radial organization. Cities expand outward. Road networks radiate. Trade routes fan from hubs. Power spreads centrifugally. Centrifugally. Blood clot. This is exactly how humans organize flat space. No intuitive sense of wrapping. People don't feel that going east eventually brings you west. Circumnavigation is abstract knowledge, not embodied intuition. Daily experience reinforces linearity. So the world feels unwrapped. Okay? The way the world is lived, taught, structured, and experienced maps more cleanly onto a flat landscape intuition than a spherical one. Because the model, so the globe, versus the experience, flat intuition, versus the presentation, maps, orientation, and language, when those three don't align, all right, people feel unsettled, all right? And the reason why I say this here is because, well, people like us, people that are awake, people that are thinking like, yo, but why isn't it? Because me, you're not going to just tell me anything that comes out of your mouth and then I'm just going to believe it. I'm so sorry. Does it resonate? Do I feel like, Is my eye braid, the one lock that I've got in my hair, bro, does it vibrate, bro? Am I hearing truth? Do you understand? Do I feel it? But you're not going to be able to tell me, oh, yes, it is because this person said it, because this person with this degree said it, because they've been saying it for years. No, darling, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I've got my own brain and mind for a reason, I. Like, literally, I don't care if no one believes what I believe, I. I've never needed anybody to believe what I believe. But the problem is, what society will do this? Society will call you mad. They'll be the first ones to say that you're mad. If you don't believe in societies, whatever, or you come up with it, that's as soon as they start saying, oh, you're mad. You're this, you're this, you're this, you're that. Why? Because they can't fit you into their little hold, into their little box where they can control you. They want everybody to be able to just be like, oh, the government said this, or the scientists said this, or this, and we're going to take it as fact. But why am I going to believe anything you said when you man have changed your mind? When you man have changed your mind how many times in history? When all now you man haven't gone back to the fucking moon. You man want to convince us that you went back in the past. Everything you lot want to convince us you did in the past. Everything you want to convince us you did in the past. Do it now in our faces when we've got cameras, bro. Do it now. Do it now, bro. Anyway. Okay. Source of human life. All modern humans originate in Africa. Every non-African population is a derivative of Africans. Yeah. Engineered though. Yeah. Genetic diversity is highest in Africa. Proof of origin. All right. So this is literally the center of humanity. And even on the map, I don't know why these men tried to make it out to be like Europe is the center, or even America. Like, and even to the Americans that say that land began in America, like, I want you to use your common sense, guys. Please look at the map. My God, some of you, yeah. Like, but I don't even blame you lot too tough, because I feel like it's a lot of the admixture that goes on in America, because a lot of you lot call yourselves black, but a lot of you man have a lot of admixture, yeah? Like, no offense, but a lot of you have a lot of admixture. A lot of you, I feel like your maternal lines got changed out. Do you understand? So I feel like that thing of that desiring to just be a little bit, to still, even though you present as black, yeah, that desire to still detach yourself from the root of Africa, yeah, like that's just humans admixture sides coming out. Do you understand? And also the education system out there failed you, man, disgustingly, because I just don't understand. When you look at the map, how the hell you look telling me that life started in America? Can you not see that America is clearly broken off from Africa? Can you not see that everywhere, even Eurasia, is still connected by landmass? But can you not clearly see that everywhere Africa is in the central, and every other land I clearly was broken off from there? You can't see it. You can't see it. Anyway, calm down, Nikki. All right, we go again. So Africa has the longest uninterrupted habitable climate. No total ice sheets resets like Europe or North America. Fewer mass extinction bottlenecks from glaciation. This matters because continuity allows civilization to persist. Disruption forces collapse and restart. Africa's landscape allowed for deep time continuity. Alright guys, I'm really nervous because the last video I did, yeah, the thing cut off. Like, I'd done like an hour recording, and it was like 11 minutes in and it had stopped recording. So I'm just gonna quickly check on this, okay? All right, I believe we're still good. Perfect. Now, Africa uniquely contains deserts, savanna, rainforest, mountains, river systems, coastlines. That makes it self-sustaining, internally diverse, not dependent on external ecological inputs. Most other regions are partial environment. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm going to be doing a lot of reading more than usual, just because of the fact that this is all very like scientific, and I want, because everybody chats shit about the flat earth thing, I want to give as much evidence as possible to make people think, okay? So, and I don't want to go off tangents, because you guys know I can go off tangents, but and I don't mean to. But my mind just be going, like now. Okay. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that good, guys. Come on, let's drive it up. Let's get my reach up, okay? Because I also really want to be doing face-to-face community Yeah, so real life in-person events, because I'm realizing that, yo, we need to band together as a community before these men lock everything off, because the way things are going, like these men really want to have us in that. What's that show called? That series thing with the birds. What is it called? Not Game of Thrones, but there was like the different houses, not houses, or different whatevers, and they would go to fight. They would send their children off, or whatever. Yeah, the games, Hunger Games. These men want us to to put us in some Hunger Games thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, so we got fertility. Africa has the Nile, Congo, Niger, Zambezi, sustained agriculture long before Eurasian dominance, supported large populations without repeated collapse. So if we're talking about fertile land, sustained life, long-term habitation, Africa again is central. Okay? Earlier framing implicitly treated Eurasia as the central band. Africa is part of the band, but not primary. This is wrong, okay? Now, the only reason Eurasia is often centered is because later empires rose there, writing systems were preserved there, modern institutions descend from there. And the only reason why writing systems were preserved there is because they burnt down all of ours. Yeah? And the ones they were preserved are the ones that they were able to rewrite as well. Aye, aye? Okay. Now, so the true central land dominance becomes Africa as the core, Eurasia as an outward extension, the Americas and Australias as later peripheral zones. So Africa is the origin plus continuity hub, okay? Then Eurasia is the expansion corridor, other regions equals later settlement layers. The way the world is presented falsely recenters Eurasia, when logically the center by life, fertility, and origin is Africa. Okay? Now, across cultures, the same type of places are repeatedly described as the end of the world, the edge of civilization, the middle of nowhere, the back of beyond, the ends of the earth. And these phrases are not randomly distributed. They cluster around polar regions, vast oceans, sparsely populated outer lands, places with low political power and low population density. All right? So logically notice what is never called the end of the world. Places of origin, places of long-term continuity, places with dense civilization and memory, places with layered history and uninterrupted habitation. No one calls the Nile Valley, Central Africa, the Fertile Crescent, well, in its early phrase, yeah, the end of the world. All right? End of the world language always describes places that are outward from the perceived core, later added to the human map, thinly populated, poorly integrated into trade, power, and memory. Examples in common usage: Antarctica, Patagonia, Siberia, the far Pacific islands, the back of Australia, the edge of Europe. All right? Now, people do not speak as if they live on a sphere. This is very important. They speak as if they live on a surface with a center expanding outward with diminishing relevance towards the edges. End of the world makes sense on a flat plane, a radial landscape, a center periphery model. It makes no intuitive sense on a sphere with no edges. Yet the phrase persists globally. All right? Now, when people say it's the end of the world, they don't mean another side exists with equal significance. They mean beyond this point, relevance collapses, history thins, civilization fades. Nothing important happens after. Because if the world truly wrapped back around, we should be able to move from Antarctica and wrap back around. We shouldn't be hitting walls, I don't understand. And then you lots want to make up all these other things. Like, because you lots keep... You allowed beings that have no link. You allowed beings that were created in the game and are of the game to tell you what the game is about. Yeah? And because they don't have access to what we have access, you allowed them to then tell you, oh, that behind the walls, there's now these creatures that live there. and there's now these people, and there's a whole nother nation of goblets, and even the Tartarian thing is pissing me off the most. Do you know why the Tartarian thing is becoming so big now? It's because we as black people have been waking up and we've realized that, oh shit, we've been everywhere, and we're the ones that built these buildings, and these men just took over our buildings, just like they said in the Bible. Did they not say in the Bible that they're going to take over that didn't Yahweh tell them that he's going to give his people, them his chosen followers, lands that they didn't build, cities that they didn't build? Didn't he tell them that? And then you man want to be smacking your gum. It was the Tartarians. And guess what? And then black people want to be in my face talking about, yeah, it's the Tartarians. You know what they mean when they say the Tartarians? Don't think they mean you, my nigga. They mean other white people. Because yet again, they're trying to whitewash it again, I. Just when we're waking up, then they're bringing the Tartarian thing. Like, yeah, you're right. These buildings were already there, and the people that were occupying them, they weren't the original builders. But when you ask them deep and you find out, because I thought at first I was getting gas, I was like, oh my god, they admit it. Then I looked into it and I was like, oh, but they're still saying it's them. They're still saying it's another pale version of them. It's still not quite black. It's still not quite black, even though the buildings have the same exact style as Afro buildings, Afro-Mediterranean buildings. We all have verandas in Africa. You man don't build with verandas. We build with verandas. You man were in teepees up until recently. You man were in dugouts up until recently. What are you talking about? Please, huh? Shit, the passion, man. I'm about to be spraying everywhere. My bad, guys. Let me calm down. Again, Nikki. Usa. Aye. All right. Let go. So, Antarctica is placed at the bottom of maps, visually isolated, culturally framed as inhospitable, empty, forbidden, treated as outside normal civilization. Crucially, it has no countries, no permanent population, no accepted indigenous continuity. So linguistically and visually it becomes the end. Not the side, not another face, the end. Right. So humans say they understand the globe, but they speak as if the world has a center, an outward expansion, an edge, and an end. Language doesn't lie accidentally. It reveals how space is actually felt and organized. So, end of the world language is not about distance or direction. It is a linguistic marker of perceived periphery, revealing that humans organize the world as a center with diminishing relevance towards an end, not as an equal sphere with no ends. Now we get into the exciting part. We're going to be breaking down the moon, the sun, and the stars, and the planets. Yeah? And let's see what the man tell us about that. Because remember, if the world is a globe, then everything else has to interact in a globe way, right? But if the world is flat, then everything has to interact exactly with what a flat earth would be like, okay? Now, the moon. Because guess what? When it comes to a flat surface, for instance, on Earth, right? Flat, meaning there's no underneath, right? There's no other side. You're not going to see the other side. But guess what the moon is? What did they call the other side, which was never mentioned before? You know, the dark side was only recently. Yeah? But how comes we never ever see the other side of the moon if everything's a fucking globe and all that shit? How comes we never see the other side? I know some of you are not even going to be putting two and two together. Yeah, but don't worry, I've broken it all down. Yeah, so the moon does have a dominant front from Earth's viewpoint because it's tidally locked. The same face is always presented to us. That front is visually dominant, historically dominant, culturally dominant. The far side existed physically but was absent from human experience until spaceflight. So I repeat again, the far side existed physically but, this is the key point, was absent from human experience until spaceflight. And did these men really go to the moon? Do these men really have satellites up there? Do you really think these men have satellites up there when we still don't get signal in our phones underneath tunnels and shit? Huh? Anyway. Okay. So the front is real fixed and enforced by motion. So just know that we see the front. These men told you they saw the back. Yeah? And they put a flag on the moon when we saw even little mouse running in the video shot. Yeah? This is what these men want to convince you. Anyway. Now, hypothetically, how a flat moon would behave. Okay? It would still present a dominant face. Yeah? Even as a flat object, a moon could present one face consistently towards Earth, be oriented like a disc always facing us. So visually, we would still have a near side and a far side that is never seen. Okay? That part doesn't require a sphere. Okay, it doesn't. Do you know why these men want to 3D everything? Should I tell you why they want to 3D everything? Because these men cannot get to grips with the fact that this is a game. This is all a game. And do you know how I know this is a game? Because when I'm in the dark, I don't know, when I'm in the dark with no lights on, man, see the grid. And that's why I'm always telling people, I'm like, bro, don't you man see the grid? Oh, my ear's gone. What are you saying, Nana? Am I chatting too much? That's crazy. Damn, my ear just rang off. You know when you get like, you're on a plane? Shit. Might need to research the spiritual meaning of that. But anyway, it was my right one. Let me make sure I note that down. Anywho, so yeah, like I see the grids, right? So in my head, I'm like, I don't understand like why everyone's so. Remember, like just with this, look at your phone. Look at your phone, for instance, right? Your phone is flat, but the way you're interacting with it is like it's 3D, right? Like you see 3D things in there. Like, do you understand what I'm saying to you? But your phone itself, the interface is flat. It's the same exact thing. You see on Earth, it's flat, right? But when we're interacting with it, it appears to be 3D like. But it's all flat. Do you understand? It's our perception that makes the world 3D. Yeah? Aye, aye. All right. Continuing on. That's a whole nother level, I know. Yeah? So let me take a little time on you, baby. All right. Now, instead of light wrapping around a curved body, all right, light would sweep across the face. So this is a flat moon, yeah? Shadows would move directionally. Brightness gradients would be flatter. From Earth, phases would still be seen as crescents, halves, and full illumination. But the transition lines would look more planar than curved. Okay? So, in this hypothetical, the unseen side isn't hidden because it curves away. It is hidden because it's facing away, like the back of a coin. So unseen doesn't equal dark, okay? Unseen equals unpresented. It's not there, I know. That parallel the language people historically use dark side without requiring actual darkness. Yeah? So on a flat moon, craters and features would not distort with curvature. Distances across the face would feel more consistent. Edges would feel more final. Visually, the moon would look more like a surface and less like a shell. This matches how humans intuitively describe it in language and art. Okie dokie. Motion would feel sliding rather than orbital. From Earth's point of view, the moon would appear to slide across the sky rather than arc around us. This is already how most people experience it. Orbital mechanics are known intellectually, not felt. And by known intellectually, based off of their models, their computer models. This is what pisses me off. So same way I'll go do my research, yeah? And I'll battle with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT, if you see the stuff that I be trying to tell me at first, and I'm like, no, doggy, because I'll be using logic. And then I'll be breaking that shit down because I'm like, listen, you need to make sense. You don't just be telling me, yeah, because obviously, no, at first I need you to tell me what the research is. First I need you to tell me the research is. I'm going to bring you the research I found as well, so we can dissect it. But then, yeah, I'm going to just be drilling out all the holes. My whole thing is I'm sniffing for the BS, bro. Like, you see my one thing with me, Anna, you see my ability to smell BS, bro. And that's why I find it funny. You know, when you see those people, not see those people, but you know when there's people ask you, they're like, oh, what would you rather? Would you rather be a mind reader or be a millionaire? And I'm like, yo, give me the million. I already read minds. And you man are acting like you don't read minds. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you man act like we don't read minds already. The only problem is people scam you, yeah? And then if you don't believe in your intuition, and if you're not if you're not already tapped and switched on, do you understand? Truly, yeah? You're not even gonna be aware of it. You're not even gonna pick it up. If you doubt your intuition as well, you're not even gonna believe yourself. So for me, when I feel something internally, bro, if I feel it, yeah, if I feel, yeah, is the battery already dying? Look at the enemies, my enemies, boy. Hold on. All right. So as I was saying, yeah, if somebody tells me, yeah, if I know that I feel something, if I feel like you're mocking me, yeah, if I feel like you're violating me, fam, yeah, but you're trying to convince me that no, I was saying I wasn't violating you, I wasn't trying to violate you, I did it, bro. If I feel that you was violating me, fam, I don't care what you're telling me, bro. You was violating me. You was violating me, but you didn't think I was going to draw you out on it. You didn't think I was going to pull you up on it. Now I've pulled you up on it. Now you want to play man games with me. You think I'm stupid. No chance, I. No chance. Now I'm going to sit there and me and you are going to both unpack exactly what it is that you was trying to say. And you're going to say it with chest. But other people, you tell them, no, that's not what I was saying, or that's not what I meant, and then they'll be like, oh, maybe I was wrong. But me, I don't care. If I've told you this is exactly what it is, I don't care what you do, bro. I don't care what you say or who you try to convince, bro. Because I know 99.9% I've got it right. And that other 0.001% that I have not got right, it's only half not right. I didn't have the full picture. Play about, boy. Anyway. Okay, so if the moon were flat, the edge would feel like a boundary, attention would cluster towards the center, edges would feel less relevant or less stable. And this mirrors how people already focus on central lunar features, treat the edge as secondary. People would still also say far side or hidden side or dark side metaphorically, because language follows visibility and access, not geometry. So culturally, very little would change. If the moon were flat, it could still consistently present one face to Earth, exhibit phases through moving illumination, hide a far side by orientation rather than curvature, and appear largely the same in everyday human experience, with differences mainly in how light and edges behave, which is exactly what happens now. Yeah. So the moon, edge psychology, yeah? The moon edges feel final, less meaningful. The Earth, polar regions or vast ocean framed as ends. This is about attention, not geometry, and the match is real. So, moon appears to slide across the sky. Earth experiences lateral travel, not curvature. Most humans feel motion this way, regardless of what they know intellectually. And even the whole gravity thing. Let me tell you why they scammed us with gravity, yeah? Gravity doesn't exist. And why do I say gravity doesn't exist? There's nothing currently right now pulling us to the center. Nothing. Okay? The reason why I know gravity doesn't exist, okay, is because all they're labeling gravity is as, yeah, is when something is in the air, yeah, and you drop, okay, an object has to find equilibrium, yeah? That's it. It's plain and simple, okay? It's not that we're all like, oh, now we're like, even though people at the bottom of the earth somehow like, oh my god. Yeah? It's nothing to do with that. Gravity is not a force that, like, they taught us that gravity is a force that's constantly acting on us. That's what they said. So even if you're standing flat, apparently gravity is still acting on you. But gravity doesn't exist unless an object is in motion, and then that pull is what gravity is. You saying something is, how can gravity be pulling on me right now when I'm standing, when I'm sat on a flat surface and I'm not falling? Use your common sense, I want you to think logically, yeah? Because when you start to think about the things that they taught us, you'll start to realize, oh, yeah, like these men think we're dumb. That's why they teach us all these things in school when we don't yet have true critical thinking, right? When we still haven't really developed true critical thinking. So we just intake the information, and then when we're older, we just regurgitate it out like it's facts. Yeah. But how many things have we learned in school that we've now learned isn't true? Come on. All right. Now, humans experience one primary lunar phase. Culture, myths, calendars, navigation, art all reference that phase. The other side had no role in human reality until very recently. Reality behaves as if there is a single front. A large portion of the moon was completely absent from human experience. No stories, no maps, no symbols, no continuity tied to it. When revealed, it felt new, other, or alien. All right? So hidden until functionally non-existent. So hidden equals functionally non-existent until accessed. People see light moving across a surface. Phases are perceived as coverage, not rotation. Remember, phases are perceived as coverage, not rotation. This is how the moon is experienced regardless of explanation. Regardless of explanation. Regardless of what these men tell you, this is how we experience it, okay? The phase behavior matches up. That's why even when you man want to believe that white and Asians and Arabs came from black people because of the cold, that it was black people, that it was actually like you man. Do you know what it is? I tried and like I promised, right? I did try and promise to say that I'm gonna try and be even more professional, but they're just like these ones terms. You get me? These ones terms. Or just try and be a bit more nicer with my words and be a bit more kinder, be a bit more, you know what I mean? But like, that's not really me. You know what I mean? I'm mad direct, you know, like I'm mad forward, I'm mad like the only reason time I play, whatever is, you know what I mean? When I'm, you know, I can play roles. I have different sides to me anyway, but when I'm passionate about things like this, like, you know, and hopefully y'all can still hear the message without feeling any type of way, because I really do be having good intentions. I promise. All right. Now, the moon appears to slide, not orbit. Okay? Orbital mechanics are learned intellectually, not felt. Every human observer experiences lateral motion. Lived motion aligns with surface movement, not enclosure. Attention clusters towards the center of the lunar phase. The edge is psychologically secondary. Cultural focus is never on what's beyond the rim. The moon is treated as a surface with a meaningful center. All right. Even without being true. So let's say like this isn't true and it's just a hypothetical, yeah? A flat moon model maps cleanly onto how the moon has been experienced, described, linguistically encoded, and psychologically understood by humans throughout history. Okay? The moon looks like a flat disk to the naked eye. Curvature is not perceptible without instruments. And this is what you'll find a lot of the times. Everything that they want to tell us is with instruments. All the things that they want to do. Like, imagine if somebody told you that, hey, no, you need to ignore your lived experience because my computer that I created with the information that I input into it and the information that I also am the one that chooses how it's interpreted, and you also don't get access to all of the information that I got to even get to that conclusion in the first place, yeah, then says that, no, my truth is the truth. Forget your eyes, forget what your eyes see, forget what you hear, forget what you feel, forget any of that, forget any of your lived experience, but believe my things that with the everything that I created. Like, don't you not? Anyway, humans naturally describe it as a surface and not a shell. The moon appears to move laterally across the sky. Orbital motion is learned, not felt. So orbital motion is learned. It's not felt, just like with the Earth. Daily experience is reinforcing sliding, not circling. So yes, yeah, phenomenologically, blood clot. These words. Oh, my belly's hungry. I'm hungry, guys. Allow me. If you hear my belly rumbling, allow me, yeah? It behaves like a moving surface. Attention focuses on the center. Edges feel less meaningful. Cultural symbols cluster centrally. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to the sun. Okay? How a sun would behave on a flat earth model. Okay? Because remember, everything, depending on what the earth is, everything would have to behave differently. If the earth is a globe, everything would have to behave differently. If the earth is flat, everything would have to behave differently. So instead of you man going into your chat on Google and being like, oh, is the earth flat or is it round? Don't do any of that. Yeah? Do side about quests to get to your answers. Do side about missions to get to your things, and see the information that they give them. Because if you ask things direct, these men are going to give you whatever things that their narratives that they're trying to play with. Do you understand? Anyway, localized illumination. The sun would act like a moving light source above the surface. Day or night would be explained by distance and position, not by Earth turning. Religions closer to the sun's path experience daylight. Farther regions experience darkness. Experiences, the light comes to you and moves away. Okay? The sun would follow a repeating route, often imagined as circular, over the surface. Seasons would be explained by changing radius or height of the path, not an axial tilt. So the sun traces a predictable loop overhead. Sunrise or sunset would be explained as the sun. Approaching appears larger or brighter, then receding appears smaller or dimmer, eventually becoming invisible due to distance and atmospheric effects. The sun doesn't go under, it fades away. So even when you're saying like, oh, the sun is going down, the sun's not going down into somebody's up. It's fading away, bro. It's just looking like it's going down because it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Anyway. Illumination would be regional, not global. Woo-wee. This is the key one here. All right. So you would expect sharp transitions between day and night zones compared to a spherical model. Daylight feels like a moving spotlight, which it literally is. The sun would always present the same face to observers. There would be no permanently hidden side, just distant based visibility. So no far side concept like the moon's. The sun would appear to slide across the sky, not arc around a globe. Motion would feel horizontal relative to the surface. Lateral movement dominates perception. People would naturally describe the sun as moving over us, coming closer or further, or circling above. Language follows perceived motion and axis. In a flat earth thought experiment, the sun would behave like a localized moving light source that circles above the surface, producing day and night through changing proximity and position rather than planetary rotation. Need to hurry up, guys, man. My belly is rumbling. And you know when you know you got some good food that you already cooked? Jesus Christ. But getting all this research together and stuff like that wasn't easy, so. And I'm also using a new app to record because obviously with this new mic that I got, the DJI mic thing, it doesn't even let you freaking record it off your camera directly. Like, I had to download something called, what is it, Blackmagic Camera. Or something like that. Okay, so we're like 40-something minutes in. That sounds perfect, guys. Sorry for the noise. All right, now. So, daylight feels local. People don't feel the earth rotating. They feel light arriving and leaving their location. Morning feels like light coming back. Night like it's going away. All right, so human perception is place-based, not planetary. We register conditions here, not global mechanics. So a model where light moves relative to the surface maps cleanly onto how day and night is felt. All right. The sun appears to follow the same daily route across the sky, returning every 24 hours with remarkable regularity. To the eye, the sun's motion is repetitive and loop-like. The idea of a looping light source fits what is seen without invoking rotation, tilt, or orbital abstraction. All right. So the sun appears larger and brighter near the horizon, then smaller and dimmer as it goes away. People intuitively describe sunset as the sun leaving, not the ground turning. Human vision interprets changes in brightness and size as distance, not geometry. So recession feels intuitive, right? It's daytime in one region, all right, and nighttime elsewhere. And this feels like separate zones, not one rotating object. We don't perceive the globe at once. We perceive patches of reality. So a moving illumination zone fits how day or night is mentally organized. All right. The sun always looks the same. There's no sensed other side, no change in orientation. Humans have no direct sensory access to stellar rotation, so a model where the sun presents a single face aligns with perception. Okay? The sun appears to move sideways across the sky, not around a sphere beneath our feet. Our frame of reference is upright and local. Motion is interpreted horizontally relative to the observer. So everyday language says the sun moves, the sun moves, the sun comes up, the sun goes away. Language formed before instrumentation, it encodes what is seen and felt, all right? Not what is mathematically inferred. Keyword on inferred, yeah? Hypothetically, a flat sun model aligns closely with how humans experience daylight, motion, and visibility, because everyday perception tracks local appearance rather than global mechanics. All right? Now the stars, guys. Yeah? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Yeah? Hey, this one's gonna blow you man's mind. That the stars and the planets one. It blew my mind. All right. So, stars appear locked in place, okay, relative to each other. Constellations don't distort night to night, right? That fits a static canopy experience. They rotate as a whole. The entire star field appears to turn together every night. No one experiences individual stars moving independently. That fits a single rotating sky, not scattered objects at different depths. Okay? They don't change size with distance. Stars don't noticeably grow or shrink through the night. Brightness changes are rare and dramatic when they happen. That fits lights at a similar apparent depth to perception. Okay? So they define direction and time. Stars are used for navigation, seasons, calendars. They feel like a reference frame, not destinations. That fits a background system, not nearby objects. They look like stars that wander. So planets, this is planets, yeah? Planets look like stars that wander. Planets appear as bright stars that move against a star background. That fits wandering lights, which is exactly the word planet originally meant. And this is what pisses me off. When you look into the etymology of things, that's when you lots are going to see the real things were, how we said words is what they meant. But when these man... When these men took over, they flipped everything. Yeah, they flipped everything. Planets, literally wandering lights. If we knew planets was originally meant for wandering lights, yeah, would you not really believe you're flying out there and you can fly there and relocate? Would you not really believe that there's fucking aliens coming down that are gonna come save you or come kill you? Would you really believe that? If we just call them what they are, which is wandering lights, but now because they told you what a planet is, and they told you a planet is a globe and it's circular and it's 3D and you can inhabit it, so now you lots are picturing all kinds of shit. But I'm telling you, these men will keep on creating new characters in the game to take you off the awareness of their character in the game, of the fact that they are created within the game and are of the game. Anyway. Ooh, we're nearly done. Okay. Now, this is the most part that I knew it. I was thinking. All right. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, perfect. So, hold on, guys. Okay, perfect. All right. Now, they move differently. They don't follow the same, so this is the planets here. They don't follow the same nightly rotation perfectly. Sometimes they slow, stop, or reverse, retrograde motion. That fits layered motion within the sky, not objects you feel are orbiting you. They don't feel like places. No one experiences planets as locations in daily life. They are points of light with behavior, not worlds you're on. That fits symbolic bodies, not experiential worlds. They influence calendars, myths, and behavior. Planets historically mattered for timing, omens, and cycles. Their meaning mattered more than their structure. Yeah? Just like, because I know most spiritual community, the mainstream spiritual community, love a crystal. Yeah? Love a crystal, love trinkets, them kind of things. Especially like non-metas, yeah? When I say non-metas, I mean like AI humanoids, yeah? Well, those with no inner eye. I'm not trying to be rude, I know. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm really not trying to be rude, yeah. But the reason why they love all that stuff is because they're externally focused. So when it comes to external things, they need objects. Objects help them feel centered, feel connected. If you leave it too much in the air or internally, they don't have anything to reference of, right? That's why they love like the tarot cards and physical things, like and everything. And when they're spiritual, like you see me, you come into my yard, like you're not gonna really feel like, right, like this person is just, I'm saying, like I don't give the whole spiritual aesthetic like that. Because I don't need to have that spiritual state. Like, look at me, look at him just now. Sorry. But I don't need to do the whole like aesthetic thing. Do you know what I mean? I can track it off, ballied off, and I'm still gonna be spiritual. Do you understand? It doesn't matter, like. But anyway, like I said, other people rely on external, boxes, identities to make them feel connected, real, to help them feel real. Okay. Now, stars feel like fixed rotating background. Planets feel like moving lights embedded in that background. Neither feels like a distant physical world in lived experience. They feel like signals, markers, timers, not destinations. In human experience, stars behave like a rotating backdrop and planets behave like wandering lights within it, regardless of what they physically are. So wandering lights, what that actually means. The word planet literally means wanderer, from ancient Greek, planetes, from the verb planao, to wander, to stray, to move erratically. Same root as planet, plane, to roam, erratic, plan, originally deviation or movement. So when the ancient people said planet, they were not naming worlds, they were naming a behavior. So stars versus planets to the naked eye. Stars keep fixed positions relative to each other. Orion is always Orion, and the sky rotates, but the pattern holds. Planets do not stay fixed. They move against the star background. Over weeks and months, they drift. That's why they were called wanderers. All right. So in lived experience, planets are points of light. No surface, no depth, no sense of being there. They were experienced as markers, timers, omens, actors in the sky, not locations. Calling them worlds is a much later reinterpretation. Why only 7 classical planets? Ancient systems counted Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Why? Because these were the only lights that wandered. Everything else stayed put. So planet never meant object type, composition, physical class. This is why planets were personified, because they moved independently, broke the rules of the sky, appeared to act. That's why they became gods, archetypes, rulers of days, Sunday, Monday, etc. Not because people were stupid, but because behavior was all they had. Planets were called wanderers because to direct human observation, they behaved like moving lights with irregular motion, not like distant physical worlds. Okay. Now, this is what the planets would be, hypothetical behavior if the planets were on a flat Earth. So planets would be lights within the star field that do not follow the exact same rotation. They drift against the fixed stars over weeks and months, forward, slow, stop, reverse, exactly why they're called wanderers. Planets would be on a different track or layers than stars, causing retrograde motion, changing brightness, and variable speed. No surface experience. They remain points of light, no perceived terrain or depth. So they are treated as active.